Hey guys, it's Coffee here, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about a book I read recently. It's called Funny Story. And this book is about a librarian. Her name is Daphne, and a guy named Miles, who so this is kind of complicated, but not too bad. Basically, their exes are dating each other, so their partners left each other for their exes. Yeah. So Daphne's soon-to-be husband, she was gonna get married, left her for Miles' girlfriend, but now ex. Anyway, so Daphne's put in a situation where she eventually, where her soon-to-be husband cheated on her. She moves out of the home that they shared.
If you're reading this, it means I'm long dead.
And then she moves in with
I'm
Miles.
proud of you, and I know you'll take care of yourself. That's why I left you nothing.
Miles works at a
decided to
winery.
leave this letter for you in this abandoned place.
He never thought he would want children. He just kind of traveled, and yeah, that's kind of like the life he lived with his ex. Well, at the time, girlfriend, now ex. Which anyway, I know it, but I don't remember right now. But that doesn't matter. Anyway. So him and Daphne live together now. She has all this wedding furniture and all the stuff from her past life now, and she's like, great, what am I gonna do? After the breakup, she befriends a coworker, and they have a little bit of drama, but it ends up getting solved at the end of the book. And she has some dad drama too. That honestly, it was kind of hard to read and stuff like that, so I did have to take a little break from it, but it was very realistic, and it was very hard to listen to, which is the point, you know. Dad and family stuff, it's complicated, and it's hard sometimes, and I think that's why I felt so relatable to Daphne. In Daphne's story, her mom is always there. Her dad is never there. And I felt so much like relatability, because that's so much like me too, where my mom was always there, my dad, he was there, but he was never there at the same time, you know? Her dad physically was never there. He would come there sometimes, but then he would leave. He'd be there, but then he would leave, you know? So I was just like, oh my god, me too, girl. So throughout the book, Daphne's going through this adventure and this journey through self-discovery of like her new life, like what does she want in life, because the whole time she was with her ex, Peter. I remember her ex's name, but I can't remember the Petra, that's her name. Okay, so Daphne's ex is Peter, Miles' ex is Petra. Okay, so throughout she's going through this whole thing, well, when she was with Peter, she always knew her life. She was always like, oh my god, like, I know where my life's headed. I know that I'm gonna have kids. I know this is gonna happen. It's all straightforward. But then once he leaves her for Petra, she doesn't know anything. She doesn't know anything about herself. She doesn't know what she likes. Her whole life was around Peter. So she goes through the self-discovery, and I just loved it so much. Okay, now let's talk about Miles. Miles was a really good character. He was really sweet. He was charming. I loved his story with his family and his sister. I thought that was really relatable too. And, you know, I just loved it. I loved his winery job with, like, his coworkers, like that. Love them. Also, another thing too is a lot of times when I read books, I don't like the friends. I loved their friends. Okay. And then the next thing I wanted to talk about was just how he treats her in the book. Throughout the whole book, Miles is the most sweetest man and the most... I loved him so much. He's just the most so kind-hearted man in the whole entire world. And he does mess up a little bit where... So Peter ends up leaving Petra because he realizes that that's just not who he wants to be with. She doesn't want kids. He wants kids. It's a whole thing. I get it. But Miles ends up going to go help Petra move and stuff like that, because he still cares about her, even though he realizes he doesn't want to be with her. He wants to be with Daphne. He like wants to help her out. This whole time though, he doesn't talk to Petra or Daphne about it, which it's not good. It's not good, guys. But he made a mistake. Eventually he tells Daphne everything, and she's like, okay. And she ends up forgiving him, because there's some later stuff with him where she finds out that after her dad like stopped talking to her and like left again, that she's so used to, she finds out from her dad later that Miles tracked on her dad to like talk to her dad, and so I got to try to get him to come back. He didn't end up coming back, but he comes back later. Anyway, so I just thought this was super sweet and stuff like that. And one thing that I loved in this whole book is that how he treats her. How even though he messed up, he goes in and apologizes, and he makes up for it, and he shows her without, like, he does things to show her that like he loves her and he cares about her, and he shows up for her. And it was just such a breath of air, because if you guys know, in the community, unfortunately, we don't always have the best romantic interests, especially guys. They tend to suck. Cough, cough. Colleen Hoover and her characters. And a lot of times, these male characters, their whole life is just surrounded by the girl and surrounded by like, just treating her badly. They just treat her badly. And a lot of times, the female interests, their whole life is the guy, and the guy's whole life is just about the girl and about wanting to like have sex with her and stuff like that. Another thing for this book is that, if I remember it, there's no sex. Like, there's a little bit like of them going to, but then they end up stopping. So there's no smut here at all. So if you don't like smut, then this book's for ya. Except for that little part of it. That might not be the best, but other than that, it's such a good book. It is so lovely, and I loved reading it. Because of the whole dad stuff, I took a little bit longer for it than I thought I was going to take, but I did speed through it. And I just want to say that, like, oh yeah, I forgot to mention, his sister. His sister was so funny. I loved his sister. Super sweet, super funny, charismatic. I loved it. And I loved just seeing their relationship, Daphne and his sister's relationship. Loved it. So yeah, I really like this book, and for my rating of this book, I gave it a 4 out of 5 coffees. So anyway, also another thing I forgot to say, this book is by a lady named Emily Henry. So this is Funny Story by Emily Henry, and I rate it a 4 out of 5 stars. Thank you for listening, and I hope you guys will come back. Anyway, love you guys. Bye.